Good afternoon, everybody. Buon pomeriggio a tutti, and welcome to the July Smart Talk of the Chamber, scheduled today with Mr. Marios Loizides, Head of Business Development, Global Corporate Banking and Market Division of Bank of Cyprus, the largest banking organization in Cyprus and the oldest, considering that has been founded in 899, also premium member of the Chamber. I'm very happy to have today the presence of Marios, who has more than 20 years of international experience in the financial sector in the areas of wealth management, investment banking, and corporate finance, with a professional experience in US, UK, and Cyprus, and also represent the bank in the advisory board of the Chamber. I would like to extend him my thanks. Today's Smart Talk will be moderated by Matto Boffa, Senior Manager and Head of Private and Wealth Management Practice at Joint Business Management Consulting. That is a strategic consulting boutique with a relevant experience of support of Italian and foreign banks, founded about 10 years ago by Giovanni Brandani and Leonardo Fenizzi as a spin-off of Value Partners and McKinsey. Today, also member of the Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce. Before to leave the floor to Matteo, thanking him for the presence, I would like to remark the important for us in today's Smart Talk to give to our audience an updated overview of the Cyprus local economy and the banking system that, of course, is of interest for all our members, regardless of the sector. I'm sure that today's Smart Talk will give an important contribution in this direction, with the aim to further develop and strengthen the business relations between the two countries and also the business relation in the whole area. After the discussion will be Kostas Katsaros, one of the two vice presidents of the Chamber, who will take care to the conclusion. Let's start then, please, Matteo.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for inviting me as a representative for Joint Business. In particular, I would like to thank Giuseppe for the opportunity and congratulations for the interesting initiative to the entire Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce. I'm very honored to be the moderator for today's session and to have the chance to interview Mr. Marios Loizides, hope to pronounce it correctly, of Bank of Cyprus. Welcome, Marios. So let's start and let's go through some questions about the overall Cyprus banking framework and the strict relation to the local economy. Marios, we kindly ask you first of all to give to the audience a general overview of the main areas of interest of Bank of Cyprus.
Thank you, Matteo. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for joining with us. And secondly, to thank the management of the Chamber for giving me the opportunity to be the guest speaker for the July Smart Talk. And it's really a pleasure to be here with you today. The principal activities, Matteo, of the Bank of Cyprus and its subsidiary companies involve the provision of banking, financial services, insurance services, and the disposal of property predominantly acquired in the exchange of debt due to the financial crisis we had back in 2012. As Giuseppe said at the beginning, Bank of Cyprus was founded in 1899. It has a history of more than 100 years, and it is the leading banking institution in the country. As of the end of the third quarter of this year, the total assets of the bank are around 21 billion euros, with shareholders' equity close to 1.8 billion. CET1, the capital ratio, Tier 1, stands to 14.6%, and the total capital ratio of the bank at 18.3%. The bank is a dominant player in the domestic market, having 42% market share in loans and 34% in deposits. Currently, the deposits of the bank stand at 16 billion, and we have a loan book of 11 billion. Non-performing loans are substantially down to 16% from 63% we had in December of 2013. That shows that the bank is really doing a great job on that side. The current share price of the bank trades at 1.08 euros, giving the bank a market capitalization of around €500 million. We have to say that the shares of the bank are listed in both in London Stock Exchange and in the Cyprus Stock Exchange. Bank of Cyprus focuses on a universal banking. We offer full range of personal and corporate financial services to local and to foreign clients. We offer retail and commercial banking, investment banking, brokerage, factoring, insurance, private banking, and shipping.
Okay, thank you very much. So as you said, Bank of Cyprus is the biggest bank in the country with a relevant market share. And is it really important for us to have from you a general overview of the current status and perspectives also of the local economy?
Okay. Obviously, the coronavirus pandemic caused a deep recession following a strong growth performance that we had between the years of 2015 and 2019. According, Matteo, to the latest available data from the Cyprus Statistical Service, real GDP contracted by 5.1% in 2020, following an average annual growth of 4.6% that we had in the preceding 4 years. Real GDP in the first quarter of this year declined by 1.6%. On the supply side, the contraction was driven by the sectors of trade, transportation, and tourism. Obviously, we had smaller negative contributions originated from other services, such as professional and administrative services, financial services, and industry. At the same time, of course, we had small positive contributions that contributed to the economy from the construction, public administration, education, health, information, communication services, and real estate. Tourist arrivals were only marginal in numbers, dropping by 93% in the first quarter and rising in the second. In total, for the 6 months, tourist arrivals were up 33%, but only 21% of the numbers that we had in 2019. That shows the real contraction there when it comes to tourism. Real economic activity in the medium term will be supported by the recovery in tourism, and of course it will be aided by higher investment activity linked with the recovery and resilience plan, by the way, approved officially yesterday by the European finance ministers, provided that the reform program proceeds as needed. Just to give you an idea of the package, Cyprus is set to receive 1.2 billion euros, or 5% of its GDP, in the period between 2021 and 26. The effectiveness of the funds will depend on the implementation on long-delayed structural reforms, mainly to improve the efficiency of the judiciary system and of the public and local administration. These are the guidelines that we have from the European Union, and the plan was approved based on the plan that Cyprus had sent over to them for review. Overall, Cyprus' fiscal response to the pandemic has been relatively large and succeeded in minimizing the impact on businesses and on jobs. In total, fiscal measures that consisted primarily on subsidies to companies as schemes for protecting jobs. Considering that the support measures given by the authorities during the pandemic are mitigating the impact, the fact that the vaccination program continues pretty well, 72% of the population have received one dose, and 63% are fully vaccinated. Taking into consideration all the above, Matteo, we are cautiously optimistic. Of course, the main risk for the Cyprus economy remains the epidemiological outlook.
Okay, thank you. So in regard to the local economy that you were talking about, what are the sectors that had the most important growth in the previous years? And what are the ones that you believe have more potential for the future?
Well, in the previous years, we had seen a growth in the sectors of education, construction, tourism, shipping, services, and financial services. Lately, we have noticed a significant interest in the energy and the health sectors. And international well-known companies are showing interest to do business on the island in these two sectors. If I may give you some numbers, like in the first 6 months of 2021, the production index in construction was up 4%, driven by a strong increase in civil engineering projects. The index of production was up 9%, driven by an increase in the manufacturing output. Retail sales were up 10%. We had the vehicle registration increased by 18.6%, and total purchases in the housing have seen an increase of 37.6%, driven by an increase in residence purchases. I personally, Matteo, believe all these sectors have great potential for growth in the future, with the drivers, though, being the tourism and the construction sectors. So I overall see that all sectors we have a positive outcome, but the two main drivers, in my opinion, will be the tourism and the construction sectors.
Okay, thank you. And the Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce is supporting important Italian groups involved, among others, in energy, shipping, and the health sector. Are these areas of interest for Bank of Cyprus? And what is the specific support that the bank can offer to them?
Definitely, these are areas of interest for us. And Bank of Cyprus has the expertise and knowledge to support these companies. Specialized teams have been in place within our corporate and business units to handle requests related to these sectors. Bank of Cyprus, as the leading financial institution in the country, is definitely committed to support the economy and willing to examine viable projects in all sectors. We are currently involved in transactions in shipping, health, and energy, having financed some of the largest projects on the island in the area of energy. So the answer is yes, Matteo, there is appetite from our side to meet with these companies and examine any viable projects that they have in mind.
Okay. A few years ago, in 2012 and 2013, Cyprus faced an important financial crisis that heavily involved the local banking system. What are your memories and thoughts about that time? And after almost 10 years, what can you say us looking now at that times?
Okay, well, the events of March 2013, Bank of Cyprus put a levy of 47.5% on depositors, converting them into shares. The second largest financial institution, like Bank, was forced to go into liquidation, having its shareholders, its bondholders, and its depositors losing everything. The GDP declined by 5.9%, and unemployment surged to 16.9%. It was a real shock to the real economy, and it did happen very quickly, I have to say. Lives were destroyed, lifetime savings were lost overnight, and jobs were lost, and people were shocked, scared, and upset. I personally remember everybody was looking for an ATM to accumulate cash because the banks were closed. The element of fear and uncertainty people were feeling was extraordinary. Honestly, we thought that was at the end of the economy as we know it. However, we have learned from our mistakes, Matteo. We made structural and legislative changes to protect the economy from future meltdowns, rolled up our sleeves and got back to work. That was the only way to recovery. Bad memories, and definitely it's something that we do not want to experience and see again, either in Cyprus or anywhere else in the world.
Okay, so it is quite a frightening picture that you described. And after the crisis, the recovery. How the banking system recovered from the crisis? What particularly was the strategy and what measures was applied by Bank of Cyprus?
Well, austerity measures were implemented, which among others included a freeze on all wages in the broader public sector, including the cost of living adjustment, VAT, the value-added tax increased. We had a 3% increase on income from dividends. The private sector experienced dramatic pay cuts in salaries, and many people lost their jobs. As said before, unemployment surged within months to 16.9%. The financial crisis dramatically transformed the socio-economic landscape of Cyprus. I remember we were constantly under the supervision of our lenders, and the program given to us by the European Union and the IMF had to be followed. No deviations were allowed. Obviously, new legislations voted and adopted very quickly to protect the system. But this allowed Cyprus to get out of the lenders program on March 2016 and be able to return to the financial markets for lending with the issuance of government bonds. Excuse me. Bank of Cyprus, with the help of its advisors back then, managed to raise 1 billion euros in capital from international investors to be recapitalized, taking the bank's common equity tier 1 ratio to 15% from 10% that it was at the time. New management took over, changes in the business model of the bank were adopted, and all international operations of the bank had to be disposed. Business focus was given to the local economy in order to support it, and had to deal with the legacy issues that the financial crisis left behind. And of course, immediate attention was given to the management of the non-performing loans. Okay.
And after all that measures and results, do you think that the Cypriot banking system is now safe? Please give us a brief overview about the main indicators and ratio about this.
The Cyprus banking system has taken big steps in correcting fundamental weaknesses in the financial system, cleaning up balance sheets, successfully raising private capital and maintaining strong capital positions over the last few years. Up to the end of 2019, before the pandemic outbreak, banks were showing good performance. Huge amounts of money are currently being invested, Matteo, into digital transformation and innovation in order to make the banking system more competitive. The reforms that already took place, along with the increased European supervision that we have, make the financial sector well positioned and safe. All systemic banks in Cyprus have passed successfully rigorous European Central Bank stress test. The banks are well capitalized and their capital ratios are above the minimum required by the European Central Bank. Therefore, the answer is yes, the banking system in Cyprus is safe.
And what are the current numbers about NPL in Cyprus, and how are they currently managed?
According to the latest statistics and numbers, total non-performing exposures at the end of March 2021 were 5.2 billion euros, or 17.9% of the gross loans. The non-performing exposure ratio of households stood at 23% respectively. About 43% of the NPs are restructured facilities, and the coverage rate only gives a great comfort. In the banking sector, there has been continuous and steady progress since the financial crisis. As I said before, banking remains vulnerable to possible upsurge in new performing loans. As a result, and this is a fear we have, of the disruptions in economic activity caused by the pandemic. Total non-performing exposures at the end of December 2020, as I said, were 5.1 billion, and the trend is downwards. Besides the steep drop that we have in the non-performing exposures, it is still significantly higher than the European average, which is 3%. However, banks in Cyprus remain committed to further de-risking their balance sheets and will continue to seek solutions to achieve this. As we all know, reduction on NPEs can be achieved either organically or with the sale of portfolios of non-performing loans. The target is dropping the ratio as close as possible to the European average.
Okay. What is the level of application in Cyprus of the international OECD and European directives to fight money laundering and terrorist financing?
New legislations were passed and all European directives were adopted. OECD guidelines are followed. The House of Representatives, Matteo, on the 18th of February this year, have incorporated the 5th AML European Directive, which is the last directive that the European Union has issued, into the prevention and suppression of money laundering and terrorist financing law. Therefore, with this new law, the latest guidelines, the 5th AML Directive I previously mentioned, is fully implemented in Cyprus. By implementing the new directive, Cyprus extends the scope of application of the Cyprus anti-money laundering legal framework. And financial institutions are very strict on procedures, and extremely high attention is paid on the matter. New procedures were adopted in all financial institutions in Cyprus, and the Central Bank of Cyprus, along with all the other relevant authorities, are closely monitoring the subject. So things have become more strict, but all legislations, locally and European, are followed in Cyprus. There is no deviation from either one when it comes to money laundering and financing terrorism.
And there are many important groups and corporates that are evaluating Cyprus as a hub for business. What is your opinion to added value offered by the country itself?
Well, first of all, Cyprus is a member of the European Union and the Euro area. It's an island strategically placed at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, Middle East, and Africa. We have a favorable tax system with one of the lowest corporate income tax in the EU, currently 12.5%. Foreign source dividends are generally exempt from tax in Cyprus when received by a Cypriot tax resident company. A wide network of double taxation treaties. 58 countries have signed with Cyprus. A lot of people are taking advantage, and a lot of companies take advantage of the treaties. We have a high level of legal, accounting, and other professional services. Cyprus provides excellent infrastructure, communication, and transport systems. Working force in Cyprus is with higher education and professionalism. High quality of life with lower cost of living is provided in Cyprus. We have what we consider an excellent healthcare service. Reputable English-speaking primary and secondary schools providing excellent levels of education. I have to say that currently some 173, if I'm not mistaken, foreign nationals live and work in Cyprus, and that's accounting close to 22% of the population. That's an indication that they see something good, otherwise they wouldn't be in Cyprus. But I think taking into consideration, Matteo, all the things that I have mentioned before, Cyprus is indeed an attractive hub business.
So there's quite a strong value proposition. What is Bank of Cyprus' communication strategy to attract foreign investors? And do you have any specific campaign for Italy? And how the Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce can give its contribution?
As I previously mentioned, Bank of Cyprus is well positioned to service foreign investors. We support our clients by offering cutting-edge technology, specialization, and expertise. Our procedures are simplified and client-friendly. We aim in good service, competitive pricing, and of course, fast delivery. Our people frequently travel abroad to meet our clients and evaluate new requests. Currently, we don't have a specific campaign for Italy, but this is a good idea for the future. The Chamber currently, in my opinion, is doing an excellent job promoting the two countries, and corporate organizations. We should continue doing this by bringing companies from the two countries together, hopefully finding synergies to cooperate.
Okay. So we move to the last question for today. As a member of the advisory board of the Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce, what are your suggestions to keep strengthening the business relation between the two countries?
I think we should keep promoting the two countries and companies in all sectors of the economy, and make people aware of the competitive advantages of doing business in Italy and Cyprus. Obviously, there are great advantages of doing business in both countries, and by making people aware, we are increasing our chances to succeed. I think we have a lot of work to do on this, but hopefully and sooner than later we will achieve that point.
Okay, thank you very much for your answers.
You're very welcome, Matteo. It's been a pleasure.
Very interesting speech.
Thanks, Marios. Please, Kostas, go to for the conclusions.
I think that we had the chance to hear from Marios an overview of the bank's positioning, the Bank of Cyprus positioning in the economy of Cyprus as the major financier and the leader of many financing activities in the island. Marios made a specific reference with much honesty to the numbers. So it was indeed very interesting to hear data, not only theories, but specific data on the parameters that are constituting right now what we say is today the Cypriot economy. He responded on all questions related to the history of the recent financial crisis and how the bank went through this crisis, emerging as one of the pillars of the restitution of the economy in Cyprus right now, dealing with a lot of challenges unexpected due to this COVID pandemic that is now in the second year. Made a reference to specific sectors of interest for the future, mostly focusing on the classic ones for Cyprus, construction and tourism, but also referring to how Cypriot economy could absorb the funding, which is on very high levels compared to the GDP, the funding expected from the recovery fund and the restitution programs. I think it's really important to have the opportunity for audience from Italy to understand that, Cypriot banking is robust and sitting into solid pillars. Bank of Cyprus is highly regulated and capitalized, monitored directly by European Central Bank as a systemic bank in a country that is in the heart of Eurozone. So it is important that Italian companies and Italian entrepreneurs feel the safety and get the sense that this environment, the banking environment in Cyprus, as supported by Bank of Cyprus, is really one of very big interest, not only due to Cypriot strategic position, but also due to the framework, the banking framework that we have in the island. I think that it was a very good closing for the series of the chamber of the smart talks that we had the chance to have up to now, continuing now on September, since we have the break of August. And I would like to thank Marios and Matteo for the moderation, Marios for the excellent presentation, and all the audience that has had the patience to follow us until the end. And wish everybody an enjoyable and safe holiday break.
You're very welcome, Kostas. I would like to thank you and Giuseppe for giving me the opportunity to be the guest speaker for the July Smart Talk. And I wish you all a happy and free summer.
We all need it, I think.
Less than September, we come back with the batteries full.
Very much. Thank you all. Thank you.
Again.
Thank you very much all.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
for the opportunity. Bye bye. Thank you.